Hi folks, hope everyone's doing well in this really difficult time during isolation. Welcome to the Bottles Wine Bar Merchants official YouTube channel, and this is the first in a series of videos of online wine tastings, so that all of you lovely lot can still do wine tastings even though you can't get into the bar at the moment. If you're within the vicinity of Bottles Wine Bar Merchants in Worcester, then you can take part in its fantastic, safe and contactless delivery service. Have a look in the description down below. It's got all of the details that you're going to need. If you're not in Worcester, if you're outside of Worcester, you can still take part. These wine tastings are an overview of a particular wine. If you can get hold of a high quality wine of the same variety, then you can have a go as well. It's going to be a few things in a nutshell, essentially. Now, Rioja is well known for its high quality Tempranillo based red wines, but did you know that it also does white wines as well? Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you white Rioja, namely made with the grape Viura. So let's take a look at the grape Viura first of all. It's a light-skinned white grape. It's quite large. It's about the same size as the white grapes that you'd find in the supermarket. It's very easy to grow, and it produces high yields, so lots of grapes on the vine. Now this can be a problem when lots of grapes are bunched together, because it means that any fungal infections and things like that can spread quite easily, and this is a problem with Viura. It can get things like downy mildew and grey rot. I know they sound like Game of Thrones illnesses, but they seem to affect Viura pretty badly sometimes. On the other hand, the grape has an amazing characteristic in that it is resistant to oxidation. Now, oxidation is when too much oxygen gets into the must, the grape juice that is produced after crushing the actual grapefruit, and it can make the wine taste flabby and flat and pretty boring. But science alert. There's a compound in Viura, in the skins of Viura, called resveratrol. I'm going to say resveratrol. And this is present in lots and lots of different fruit, as well as red grapes, so in the skins of red grapes, in blueberries and lots of other berries as well. So a lot of the superfood fruits contain this antioxidant. Now, it's actually pretty important. It makes it very usable in the Rioja region, because as well as oak being used for the red wines to age and add some secondary flavours, it also is used with the white wines. So white wines can actually go into oak and be matured by the winemakers there. Historically, it's been important, this characteristic of antioxidation, because in about 1901 there was a horrendous epidemic of phylloxera, which is an aphid-like creature that attacks the rootstock, the roots of the vines, and it really devastated the region. It took out about 70% of the actual area where they were growing grapes. However, good old Viura, because it produces lots of grapes on a vine, and they were able to store the wine for slightly longer and keep it in oak to preserve, it managed to outlast two of its biggest rivals, which were Grenache Blanc and Malvasia, and it went to the top of the pile. And after 1965, no other vines were being grown other than Viura, so it's really taken top dog status in the region. So when we're looking at location that the grapes are grown, it's grown on either side of the Pyrenees, the mountain range that separates France and Spain. It's grown in the north and east, so northeasterly Spain, Catalonia and Basque regions, and in France in the south-southeast, the Languedoc-Roussillon region. If we look at basically the grape in France, it's also known by another name, which is Macabeo. So it's known as Macabeo in Languedoc and France, and also in most of homeland Spain outside of Rioja, where it is known as Viura, it's the most widely planted white grape. Now, the way the wines are produced differs slightly depending on the region that it's grown, and this is a basic tenet in terms of winemaking. It comes down to terroir, which I think we're going to be covering in another video, and it's based on the conditions that grapes are grown in. Even though it's the same grape in terms of variety, it can produce vastly different results. Another example of that is Sauvignon Blanc. So New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc and Chilean Sauvignon Blanc are very, very different, but it's the same grape being used to make it. Again, that's going to be coming in a future video as well, because it's a really, really interesting concept. So in France, the grapes are used to make red and white wines, sweet and dry, generally in the form of blends, so blended wine. Two examples of sweet Macabeo blended wines are Banui and Mori, and then there are two drier reds. I'll give you some examples of Corbière and Minervois. So it's a pretty versatile grape to be used in blends. Now, in terms of Spain, it's used in almost every winemaking district of Catalonia, but it's most well known for being used in blends as well, namely its sparkling wines. Cava is the premier sparkling wine of Spain. It's made in the same method to Champagne, although slightly drier, and it's a combination of three grapes. You have your Macabeo, or Viura, you have Parellada, and you have Xarel-lo. So these three are blended together. Parellada, Xarel-lo, Macabeo equals Cava, equals win, equals profit. Now, let's have a look at Viura in Rioja. So Viura is an indigenous grape to Spain, and it's made its way up to France through trade and things like that, and also because the climate lends itself to it. Rioja region is about 120 miles south of Bilbao, and here the grape is used as a standalone dry grape, and also it can be blended with a little bit of Malvasia. Also, it is used in Tempranillo-based red wines, so it can be used as a small percentage in sub-regions like Rioja Alvesa and places like that. So let's get to the crux of the matter. Basically, what everyone wants to know is, what does it taste like? Now, in the wrong hands, Viura can produce rather boring neutral wines, and that's because of the high yield. If you think about it in terms of The vine is taking nutrients from the soil, sunlight, water, and it has to share all of those things amongst lots and lots of grapes. It's going to dilute down the flavour and it's going to be less concentrated, which is why you get that bland character. However, there are some skilled winemakers in Rioja region. They are able to preserve the fresh, aromatic zestiness of the wine, and it means that also it can be used to make mature oaked Riojas as well. Now, the one we're looking at is a fresh, unoaked Rioja. It's called Antaño Viura. I'll show you the bottle. As you can see, it's empty, as I really enjoyed it when I got hold of it. Yeah, it's a really, really interesting 100% Viura wine. It's bone dry. It's medium to light in body, so, nothing too heavy. It's got medium acidity, so nothing too sharp. And it's about 12% ABV. So nothing too scary there. It's really, really fantastic for the summer weather that we're just starting to get. Now, on the nose, you're looking at fresh and floral and aromatic. You've got lime peel, lemon verbena, which is a leaf of a shrub, which gives both herby and really strong lemony citrus smells to it. Honeydew melon, maybe some fresh tarragon and marjoram. Again, very subtle, and some chalkiness, some minerality to the smell. Now, on the palate, good acidity and sweeter fruit. So you're looking at your honeydew melons, lemon curd kind of sweetness, but don't let that fool you. Those flavours kind of trick your taste buds into thinking that the wine is sweeter than it is, but it is a really, really dry wine. And finally, on the finish, you're looking at some salinity as well. So almost a slight saltiness, which lends itself to lots and lots of different foods. So you've sat down, you've opened a bottle of Viura. What would you have with it to eat? It's tricky, as obviously it can come in those two different kinds. The oaked variety, you'd be able to have stronger flavours, so more intense meat and fish-based dishes, and also resinous herb dishes, so things with rosemary, thyme, marjoram, stuff like that. In this case, the fresher unoaked stuff is actually really, really good, and you can treat it almost like a Sauvignon Blanc in the way that you are pairing it. So we're looking at light grilled fish, and shellfish, garlicky bases, light salads, savoury soups, risottos, and as with all other aromatic wines like Rieslings, they go really, really well with Southeastern Asian dishes, which I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, it really, really works. So a couple of examples, something like a Thai curry, so like a coconut-based curry, or Vietnamese dishes, so the noodle bowls like pho and things like that. Very fragrant dishes. It works extremely well with, which is surprising. When you're looking at wines from Spain, they shouldn't really go with with Asian dishes, but it's that aromatic element that really, really enhances. So there we have it, folks. White Rioja made from Viura, a fresh, zesty, aromatic wine that's easy drinking and really, really affordable. Now, remember, if you want to take part in this online wine tasting with the wine that I mentioned, the Antaño Viura, then check out the description below for all of your ordering details from bottles. Also, check out the social media feeds. I'm going to be putting them up all around the screen. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're going to be putting updates on there pretty much constantly, where you can see how to order, what new things we've got going, and also you can give your feedback as well. So say if you're enjoying your wines, say if you can contact us through Facebook as well. It's completely open, and we look forward to hearing from you. A little bit about me. I also have a weekly podcast called, funnily enough, the Beardy Wine Guy Podcast. It's on all major platforms. You can go on my website, beardywineguy.com. It's a work in progress at the moment, but it's going to have lots of written blogs and things like that, all about wine, beer, spirits, hospitality. Last but not least, email any suggestions or feedback that you have to beardywineguy@gmail.com. Right, so that's all the promo. Thank you so much for listening and watching the first online wine tasting that I'll be doing. There'll be more coming up, more regular than this. Now I've got some of the technical aspects out of the way, and most importantly, stay safe. Ciao for now.